Patch 11.1.7 is now live. We all know this. You're going to get in there, do some things. You're going to basically get your new Biz Belt. You're going to do some lore walking, all while using your PP to press the one-button rotation. That's right. This game can now be played that way. So there you go. These things are all happening. Let's jump more into some of the other stuff, including what the best item is for your power-up for your Biz Belt, specifically for each class. I'll talk a little bit about that, and whether or not you should be using the new rotation helper. Not the single-button rotation, but the rotation helper. We're talking DPS drop-offs. Let's just jump straight into this stuff. The Spicy Mean Ball is now available for those of you who are still doing Dastardly Duos. Maybe there's 2 of you out there who are still... There's just one duo of people that are still doing these things. Yeah, you can get in and get this ball this week, so that's great. More time-gated. Again, this is the problem with time-gated content. Sometimes the content kind of falls off by the time the shit that people originally wanted becomes available, and then no one's doing it anymore. So I don't know. Yeah, go get the ball thing, and there's other things that'll become available later on. This was all time-gated stuff. Unlock the Dark Fuse Chompactor Mount. That's right, if we do our little Galagio run this week, through our rewards track, we will get another mount, so we'll do that at some point on stream. A quick full clear of this thing. You only need to really kill like 4 bosses to actually get another track upgrade here on your renown track, so you don't got to do a full clear, but fuck it, we'll do a full clear. I need Valor Stones anyways. Also, this week, Turbulent Timeways is now live, and you're going to want to start doing this if you want to get this big boy pirate infinite dragon mount. I don't know what the hell it's called again, but I call it the infinite dragon pirate mount. If you want to get this thing, again, you got 7 weeks to do this. Of those 7 weeks, for 5 weeks, you got to run at least 4 of these things. So 5 of the 7 weeks, run 4 time-walking dungeons, and you can get yourself this mount. Now, this week is a special one. It's the first time Battle for Azeroth has joined time-walking, so this would be a good, fun one to do. It's fresh. It's new. You're going to get to go back to some BFA dungeons and actually maybe enjoy some of the aesthetics of BFA, because I do think it had good aesthetics. Getting this thing done shouldn't take too long. 4 Turbulent Timeway runs. That'll take just a couple minutes, honestly. How to unlock an overcharged delve. Yeah, that's right. So getting in, doing your delves, and unlocking the disc belt, I should say. So again, this is just a quest. You're going to do a quest to unlock the belt, first of all. And then second of all, you'll do a quest every week for 5 weeks from here on out. Time gating. Hey, how's it going? To take your item level from 691 to 704. Again, this is going to be your best in slot item, no matter which class you are, no matter what you're doing. I actually think this thing does work in PvP. Don't hold that against me. I'm not quite sure, but I've seen people commenting on my YouTube videos asking if that's true. I think it is. I think this thing affects everything. So, I mean, I know for a fact that it's outside of delves. You can do raids. You can outdoor world content, everything. So I'm pretty sure this thing works with everything. So this is the best in slot item for everyone. This means everybody has to do delves. This is not just Greg from accounting is going to do delves, whether you do delves or not. But it's time for everybody to jump in and still do. Who does PvP on retail? I guess like the 1 or 2 guys that actually commented on my videos. Those are the 1 or 2 guys that still do PvP. So, yeah, get in there, get this belt, and then every week from here on out, you'll get a quest to upgrade the belt again. Now, this belt has some power-ups on it, right? And the power-ups are what's really making this thing best in slot, besides the fact that it has a high item level. But which power-up is best for your class? So specifically speaking here, we're going to look at each class and break down what the best little power-up is. So for Death Knights, if you're Blood, Frost, or Unholy, it really is charged bolts, no matter what. For AoE, some people are going to also run Critical Chain for Frost and Spark Burst for Unholy, but charged bolts is the number one. You're going to notice a theme here. I think it's number 1 for basically everybody. Best for Demon Hunter, charged bolts, except in AoE scenarios for Vengeance Demon Hunter. It looks like Spark Burst works pretty well. I'm going to link this in the chat, by the way, and down below. Best Druids. We got charged bolts for everything except Feral Druid in AoE scenarios. They're using Electric Current, and Restoration Druid actually using Spark Burst. So for Resto, it's not charged bolts, it's Spark Burst. That's the one you're going to want to get. Moving on to Evoker. Charge bolts across the board except Devastation for AoE. They're going to use Spark Burst. And for Preservation, Electric Current and Spark Burst there. So there you go. For Hunter, charge bolts for every single target, and looks like Spark Bursts for every single AoE, except Survival Hunter will be using Electric Current as well. It looks like they're interchangeable, so pick whichever one you want. Charge bolts again showing up here for mage. It looks like the #1 for single target, and then for AoE, a little bit of a mix-up here with fire mage. You can also use spark burst. So I mean, spark burst and charge bolts, if you haven't noticed yet, seem to be the best choice by far. Sometimes spark burst takes over for AoE, but charge bolts seems to be the one that everyone's going for. It looks like for raiding scenarios, specifically single target, charge bolts is going to be the one everyone's going for. For monks, we have Brewmaster and Windwalker Monk are using charge bolts, while Spark Burst a little bit here for Windwalker Monk in terms of AoE, but then Mistweaver Monk, Spark Burst both across the board. So there you go. Not too surprising there. Holy Paladin, Spark Burst is actually the #1 for Holy Paladin on both single target and AoE, and then charge bolts for single target on Prot and Retribution. Critical Chain being the one that Prot and Retribution should be picking for AoE scenarios. So there you go for that, a little bit different. And then Priests here, we got Discipline, Critical Chain also showing up here for Holy Priest, Discipline Priest, single target. Then we got Charge Bolt for Shadow Priest, single target. And then for AoE, it's Critical Chain for Discipline and Holy Priest, and Electric Current for Shadow Priest. For Rogue, Charge Bolts across the board, AoE or single target. Just go get Charge Bolt. If you're a Rogue, doesn't matter what you're doing, go get the Charge Bolt. That seems to be the best in slot for whether you're doing AoE or single target. For Shaman, Charge Bolts, unless you're playing Restoration Shaman, it's Critical Chain. And then for AoE, Critical Chain for Elemental, Electric Current for Enhancement, and Critical Chain for Restoration. Warlock, Charge Bolts across the board for single target. Static Charge, that's the first time we've seen this one. Show up for Affliction Warlock and Demonology Warlock in AoE scenarios, and then Spark Burst showing up for Destro Warlock in AoE. For Warrior, it's Charge Bolts across the board for single target, and a similar theme across the board here. And then for AoE, it's Critical Chain for Arms Warrior. Furry Warriors are Electric Current, and Protection Warriors are Spark Burst. So there you go. This is, again, I'll link this in the chat for everybody who still wants it, and I'll link it down below the video on YouTube so everyone can go reference it whenever they need to. So dismissive. I don't like this new Sam. I remember the time when Sam was a friendly Canadian. Now he has changed. There's so many lies in that sentence, I don't even know what to address first. I'm not Canadian. I'll just address that one. Estimated DPS loss with highlight assist. So here we go. This is the other big feature that came in with this patch. You got your single button rotation and the more viable and really the highlighted button assist, right? The Heckley replacement. So how are these looking if you actually get in the game and use them compared to just a person regularly running their rotation if they actually know their rotation well? Looks like there's a DPS loss for just about everybody. I'm surprised about the assisted highlight feature because that one is really just kind of supposed to tell you optimally what you should be clicking next. There's no surprise with single button assist that one's going to have a drop off because there's a worldwide cooldown going off, a global cooldown every time you use it. So you're going to just go through your rotation more slowly. But in terms of the assisted highlight feature, we see quite a bit of drop-off, 40%, 30% here for Blood DK is the highest one I see so far. Guardian Druid, also 30%. Who else sees a big drop-off here? There's a bunch of 20% in the 20s, it looks like, and 30s. 60% drop-off for Prot Paladin using that rotation. Whoa, my God, that is massive. But I think we saw somebody review this, and it was broken for Prot Paladin, if I remember correctly. The rotation assist was just not working correctly for Prot's Paladin. So maybe that's why it's a 60% drop-off as of right now. Looks like the range really is like about a 2 to 30% drop-off, depending on what spec you're playing for that assist rotation. I'm sure this thing's going to get better. Assisted highlight's going to take time for Blizzard to figure out. Heckley's been around for a very long time, so they've mastered it. I kind of just wish Blizzard had hired these guys to take on this project for them. You know, I'm sure they would have gladly taken the jobs at Blizzard. Maybe I'm wrong, but their add-on's going to kind of be, no longer allowed in the game after a while, so this would be a good jump-off point for them to join the Blizzard team. I don't know why Blizzard's trying to do this on their own when somebody already knows how to do it, but it's an issue. I don't know. It'll get fixed over time. It's going to take time. This thing will get better as time progresses, but for now, it's probably best just to try to learn your rotation on your own and continue to do it. Besides that, some really cool news here. World of Warcraft 1 Remastered, sorry, not World of Warcraft, I should say Warcraft 1 Remastered, Warcraft 2 Remastered, and Warcraft 3 Reforged are joining Game Pass. That's right. Starting June 26th, the year of the Samiccus's birth. That's right. Blizzard did this on purpose. Very obvious that they knew my birthday and decided to launch this big project for Game Pass on my birthday. But these 3 titles will now be available with your Game Pass subscription if you have PC Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate. I have Game Pass Ultimate, so this is great. I was actually going to buy Warcraft 3 Reforged back when that thing was launching, and then the debacle all happened. I never bought it. Now I'll get it for free. I'm glad I never bought it. So, yeah, all 3 of these titles will be made available to you if you have Game Pass Ultimate or PC Game Pass starting June 26th. That's right. Maybe a little inkling of more Warcraft things to come. World of Warcraft on Game Pass? Man, don't I wish. Don't I wish. I already pay for it, so it'd be nice if I could supplement my sub into Game Pass. But yeah, I got it on sale. Game Pass enjoyers, yeah. No, Game Pass is a great value. If you don't have it, look into it, honestly. I love Game Pass. I freaking have an Xbox behind me, which my sons play all the time, and they just download shit on Game Pass. Obviously, I limit what they can fucking download. But for the most part, I mean, Minecraft is on there, a bunch of other shit. They just download shit on Game Pass. It's a great freaking subscription, and it's really Xbox's main model, so yeah, this is a great addition to them. I'll be trying to play some of these later on, maybe as World of Warcraft kind of teeters off in terms of content at the end of the expansion. Final piece of news here. Save up to 50% on your mounts and pets and other character services and more. This is the big summer sale. That's right. Summer sale, 50% off. All these different mounts, 50% off. All these different pets. Toys as well, transmogs, character transfer services, other things like that, race changes. So yeah, bunch of percentages off on things here. You can go ahead and jump right in and spend your money if you like to spend your money on this kind of stuff. And that is all in terms of news.